Rise and shine, family. Rise and shine. We're going to talk for a little bit. We're going to talk for just a little bit. Rise and shine. I see you, Dwight. Welcome in. Welcome in, family. Welcome in. Peace, Jane. Peace. Welcome in. What's up, Eddie? What's up? Peace, Jane. From Europe. Wow. It's amazing how social media is, man. I'm able to connect with people all across the world, man. That's why I said we have such a wonderful opportunity, than really a better opportunity than our ancestors had, because they had to march door to door and try to raise awareness to things that was going on in the world to try to change them. But, man, I could go live and reach more people than Dr. Martin Luther King. That's crazy, man. Peace. Peace, Brenda. Peace, Mac. Peace, Sophia. Peace, Dwight. Light and life. Absolutely. Namaste. Peace. Marmar Martin. I lost. Oh, man, Facebook sucks. Or either y'all just not in tune like that. But I had health issues. So I was already losing a lot of weight anyway, because I had changed my eating habits from, of course, I was a meat eater or whatever. And people hate that term. So non-vegan. And then I became a vegan. So I lost a lot of weight from there. But then I had to have my stomach removed due to me having a cancer gene. And this is a result of that too. So peace, family. Peace, Derek. I see you, brother. Peace. We're gonna talk for a minute though. How do you mentally cripple someone? And you guys can definitely the second time around, Larry, I say it went good. I feel better than I did the first time. First time it went horribly. And I ended up having to go back to the hospital to get another surgery. So, but I do feel better this time. So, but if you guys want to, man, you guys can. Somebody said with fear. Okay, Davina. Okay. Thank you, C. And also thanks to all of you guys who still contribute by way of donations. Understanding that just because you see me walking around doesn't mean that I don't need help anymore. A lot of people, man, it's like as soon as I got off the feeding tube, I guess they figured I didn't need help anymore. But man, these supplies and vitamins and all this stuff I gotta put in my body now that I don't have a stomach, man, that stuff is ridiculous. So just thank you guys. Red herring, absolutely, Vanessa. That guy, man, that was crazy, man. Every other word was red herring, right? So yeah, family, how does someone become mentally crippled? How do you mentally cripple someone? Okay. So let's just talk about it, because we're going to talk about how we were mentally crippled and all this stuff. They say if you put a shark in a tank, it will not outgrow the tank, right? It'll only grow to reach a certain size. But if you grow that same shark in an ocean, or put that same shark in an ocean, that shark will grow to be a lot larger than it would be if you put it in a tank. The reason is because a shark will not outgrow its surroundings. Now just think about that. Are we the same way? If you surround yourself by a bunch of people who don't challenge themselves, don't critically think, and they just believe anything they're told, you are more likely to being susceptible to being the same way. And you've surrounded yourself with people who think the same way you do, that had the same programming as you. And if you don't put people in your life, or at least listen to people who challenge your paradigm, how can you ever change it? Remove their sense of self-worth. Control the way they learn. Absolutely, Mac. Good point. Good point. Good point. What's up, Ghana? I see y'all watching. Y'all, Pep, I see you. Great point. Y'all hear what Mac said, right? They control the way you learn. Good point. I'm going to give you an example because, someone may see that and not really understand. The way you learn. Let's talk about how we learned, okay? Let's talk about how we learn. In school, now let's just talk about life right now first. Excuse me. Let's talk about what we need to survive. What would you need to know right now to survive in this matrix? What is one of the most, let's just say you had your child and you have 5 minutes. No, 1 minute. You have 1 minute to prepare your child for the world. What thing would you focus on the most to help your child understand this matrix and how to survive in this matrix, if the goal is that they don't end up in the streets, living on the streets, being a beggar, or having to move back in the home? What is something that you would teach your child that they would have to need, that they would really need to know? It would be prerequisite for the matrix that we live in. What is something that you would teach your child? Watching from Virginia. Peace, peace. Michigan in the house. I see you. Missouri, I think that is. That's major. They didn't teach important life skills, financial development, nothing. In fact, they didn't teach us real history. Absolutely, Davina. But what would you teach your family right now, family? If they were going to go out and survive in this matrix, what would be prerequisite for them to learn if they were going to survive? Learn how to eat, protect yourself. Okay. Learn how to eat. You mean like learn what food is to begin with, right? Not what we think is food. Because let's face it, if a man asks a woman, can you cook? He don't mean, can you prepare food that makes me healthy, makes my mind healthy, okay, and addresses my whole well-being, okay? He's not asking for electric foods. He mean, can you go fry up some chicken that tastes good, something that his mama used to make? And that's his idea of you being a good cook. You understand? And why would he ask you, can you cook anyway? And suppose that you should be doing anything like that. I'll teach my child not to forget we are in this matrix, okay? But what's what's a tool that they would need, family, to be able to survive in this matrix? What about credit? What about understanding credit and understanding money? That money should be looked at as a tool, okay? 5-10 years down the road, not how am I going to spend it this weekend? Because a lot of our parents, they don't know this. They give their tithes to a church because they raised you Christian, they're Christian. They still live in an apartment, or they don't even own the house they live in, yet they're telling you that you're childish if you got to move back in. Like they understand the world too. They don't even understand the world. They can only prepare you as much as their brain has been prepared. They give you their brain and then judge you because you don't know no better. Think about how many parents that you guys have who criticized you for having to move back home, told you that because you were grown, you had to get out. They didn't own their own place. They were struggling, about to get kicked out themselves. And I'm talking about they've had more chance at life than you. They've been on this planet a lot longer than you. They should have figured it out by now. But it doesn't work like that. They've surrounded themselves with people who are illiterate to this matrix, and they've never learned the truth either. And so they continue to do what they've been doing, just trying to make it work. Money. Yes, it's fake. Yes, it's just the matrix thing. But they would have to understand that, right? Now, we're talking about what would you teach your child in this world to survive in this matrix? Money would have to be a prerequisite. Now, watch this. What do they teach you in school? Now, we're going to talk about this because they test you on this stuff and they grade you on your intellect based on this stuff. And you don't understand that they're creating you to be a contribution to the matrix. That's all you're going to be, is a robot who's on the assembly line of the matrix that continues to project the matrix into the world with the way you live your life and continues to build the matrix with the way you live your life. It's a fact. Think about it, family. We just talked about this. Finances would be a priority. It would be a prerequisite on understanding this matrix. But when you were young in school, instead of learning things like this, because don't say, well, we were too young to learn it. Let's be honest, you weren't. Okay? You were not. You were taught in school to call a group of birds, a group of crows, a murder, and a group of geese, a flock. This is what you were graded on. You were graded on calling a group of wolves a pack and a group of lions a pride. None of this shit matters in the realm of reality. You understand? But this is what you were taking in school. Now I'm going to pause. I'm going to read your comments because I'm going to let that sink in. Education currently is about conformity. Absolutely not intellectual thinking. You are absolutely right. Thank you, Alicia. I always get criticized when I shave. They be like, why you shave up your beard? This is, if you don't know why, it's just my rebirth. I lost all that weight, and I feel like after getting this surgery, this last surgery was my real chance at full health, at full recovery, because this last one just wasn't. They messed some things up, and so this time, going back and correcting them with a different doctor, I was like, this is my rebirth. And I had been letting my beard grow for probably about a good 4 months or whatever. And I mean, it was very long. It grows fast, but I was like, I'm going to shave it off and just look at it like this is a new me. So that's in the past, and just go from there. And I have shaved like twice since then. I don't know why, but it's kind of like that. It itches, and then it's hard to get past that stage. But let's talk about it, family. Why was it important for you to learn to call crows, a group of crows, a murder, and a group of geese a flock? Why is it important that you know to call a deer and not deers? Or dog, or the plural for dogs is dogs, or the plural for ox is oxen, the plural for octopus is octopi? Why is that important? Like they named the octopus. Like the octopus didn't name itself. And so now we got to learn a whole different plural word to call an animal that you created a name for. And if someone says octopuses, you think they're stupid. But their credit could be way better than yours. But you try to correct somebody on something stupid, something trivial. They didn't teach you that either, Dale. How you could turn your tax return into a new house, how you can invest. They didn't teach you any of that. They taught you what was going to keep you poor, knowing stuff that does not matter. Think about it, family. I can ask you something in real life, and you think what being intelligent is knowing the capital of Michigan, or knowing the capital of North Carolina, or anything like that. That's stupid. This is what we learned in school. How to talk. How to speak properly. How to use their words properly, right? They didn't teach you how to properly navigate this world. I don't care how well-spoken you are. If you don't understand credit and money principles, your hind ain't going to be talking real smooth on the streets. Let's be real. This is how they cripple your brain. And this is like I'm saying, that shark in a tank will not grow as large as a shark in the ocean. And the reason is because it will not outgrow its environment. Think about this, family. The flea is reported to jump higher and longer than any other animal in the world. Higher and farther than any other animal in the world. If we could jump like fleas, we'd literally be Incredible Hulk right now. You know how he jumped from like one country and landed in another? Like, we'd be like that. Just about. But if you take a flea and you put it in a short jar and you put a lid on it, and those fleas for 7 days now, this scientist did this for 7 days, these fleas try to jump out of this jar. And after the 7 days, when he took the lid off, they could no longer jump higher than the length of that jar, or the height of that jar, because they had trained their brains, or their brains had been crippled to believing that they could not jump any higher than that. Now, at first, you got to understand, they were hitting their heads on the ceiling, but then to protect themselves like we do, we accept ignorance in order to feel safe, in order to protect ourselves. And these fleas do the same thing, right? So now with this cap removed, they still can't jump out. And here's the crazy part. Even their offspring can't out jump that boundary. That boundary that you have given to these fleas. From this point on, you have changed out their whole DNA. Think about how crazy that is. What if this has been done to you? Through mentally putting a cap on you. They put you in a jar, and all this information that's really out here, you don't get access to. You know why? Because when schools were not set, when schools became intermingled, right, where you know all different colors or black and white can go to the same school. Here's how you do this. Yeah, we'll let them go to the same school, but we will give them information that's not really needed, because we understand that credit and things that you need to know to survive in this world can be taught by your parents. If a parent understands credit and their life is straight financially, they're going to teach their child to be the same way in most cases, unless that child is just super stubborn. But if you have no clue what credit is or how to maintain yourself in this world and your finances, it's impossible for you to teach someone else to do those things. You can't teach something you don't know. It's impossible. Right now, tell me something you don't know. Tell me about kinesiology. Let's talk about marine biology. If you don't know about it, you can't tell me about it. Social engineering, absolutely. So please tell me why it's important that we know the plural of octopus is octopi. And why did they teach this in school? Why was it so important, family? Please tell me. Why is a group of cows called a herd? Why is this important, family? Why is this important? Why do we have to learn this? Just tell me. I just want to know. Why is a group of fish called a school? Why is the plural of fish still fish and not fishes? Why is this important that we know this information? Yet we don't know anything about credit unless we got that information on our own out of the mud. Or somebody we love taught it to us. Your school teacher never told you any of this stuff. See, because as long as you don't understand money, see, I'm going to show you how they get you, family. They give you sports, right? Sports don't require intelligence to understand in this matrix. Now, you can be intelligent and use intelligence to play sports. Like some of these athletes, they are very intelligent and understand the sport on an intelligent level. But understanding basketball does not make you sufficient for living in the real world. You understand? So they'll give you basketball and all of this stuff. And they'll never teach you money because they know that if you were to acquire a deal, if you were to get signed to some team, you will think that having material things are what's more important than building longevity for your family and your neighbors and the people who you love. They don't want you to understand that money is a tool. They want you to look at money as something that's personal. And if someone asks for it, then they're being greedy, right? They don't want you to see money as a literal tool. Think about this. Let's just say we live in a place where, let's say you have a whole bunch of rubber duckies. Now, rubber duckies are like life savers. All right. So like the little rubber inflatables that you throw in the water to save somebody. Let's say you got 100 of those, 100 inflatables, and you see someone drowning and they ask you to toss them one. You wouldn't mind tossing them an inflatable. But if you got $100 and somebody asks you for $1, you'd be like, get a job, asshole. Now, that's out of selfishness and prejudging that person, assuming that, they can just go get a job or that they're in that situation due to laziness, right? And that's lazy on your part to not even think any further. But some of us don't even use money as tools to help our own selves. I can understand you having a predisposition towards a homeless person. Maybe you met someone who was panhandling and lying about their situation. I done seen people doing that. I done seen people look like they didn't have legs and had legs the freaking whole time. So I could understand how someone could say, hey man, hey, I don't trust you. But how come you don't use it as a tool to even build yourself? Think about it. You don't even use it as a tool to build yourself. You get some money, you're going to go buy something that loses value because you don't understand what you should do with money. This is how our brains have been crippled. You say, well, we don't see anyone inherently holding people back or obviously holding people back. Well, we holding ourselves back. We have become our own devil. They tricked you into becoming your own worst enemy, family, because you carry out their teaching. You ever notice when you're in a school, the teacher is always the smartest person in the room? And if you say anything to disagree with them, you're being disrespectful. You ever notice this? And it's why? Why? Because they're older than you. But then later on, facts change, right? And so the same lessons that were taught in school 100 years ago are not being taught today because a lot of the things that they taught have been debunked. And we have saw that that was not something that was needed, right? So to speak. So we do know that information changes. So if you challenge someone, a teacher, they can just kick you out of the classroom because they say you over talking them or being disrespectful, even if you're right about something. This happened to me before. A teacher told me my answer was wrong. My answer was incorrect. Okay, I'm trying to explain to her. I want her to tell me why it's incorrect, but she just wants to say it's incorrect. She sends me to the office. I show the principal my answer. He says, you're correct. I said, can you go back and tell the teacher? Because she just kicked me out of the office. Sent me to the office telling me I was wrong. Parents do this too. So you tell your children to shut up and be respectful even when you're wrong. Why? Because you're the oldest. You're more programmed than they are. Most of the time, your children would probably be right more than you because you're the one that's programmed. We have had years under psychological programming where they haven't had that many. They're younger than you. So their brain is actually fresher than yours. So when they see something is wrong in the world, maybe you should listen and not say you don't understand. It's a grown folk thing. Maybe you should listen. Because your child is going to be able to see something that's wrong more than you will because you've been desensitized. Your brain has been crippled. And many of us have not outgrown our environments. Right. My kids are smarter than me at most times. Brandon, listen, I can appreciate your honesty, bro. I'm telling you, man, children will blow your mind. And many parents will admit to this. Your children can bring you back homework and you'll be sitting there scratching your head like, how do we do this? And that proves they always changing something. If it was actually something that was needed and a real prerequisite to learn, why does it change? Why are they changing the way they teach? Why do they teach our children differently than they taught us? Why is it that your child can come home from school? Now you talking about you ain't even been out of school a whole decade a whole 20 years yet. And the way they teach is that different that you can't even understand your child's homework? Math different. They even add and multiply different. Now listen, goodness gracious, it should be one way to multiply, one way to add. You mean to tell me y'all done figure out a whole new formula for adding? This can be done in your head. Adding can be done in your head. Right, bruh. You see 2 plus 2, you tell your child 4, they gonna be like, no, you're supposed to carry the 1. What 1? It's please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, Daddy. What you talking about? How do you apply please excuse my dear Aunt Sally to the 2 plus 2? There's no parentheses, there's no multiplication, no nothing. It's not simply 2 plus 2 no more. It's a whole different scenario, a whole different, Y'all remember division, how you had to put, the part that you're dividing by outside of the house and the part that you're dividing into inside of the house, and then there was a remainder and all this crap, and you had to go through all that trouble to get a simple answer. Remember that? And they say don't use calculators. Why? Calculators are available. Name me one person in life who be carrying the 1 when they're in the line. You got machines that tell you the price. No one sits there and argues with the price. They get to the counter. They tell you it's going to be $176.22. You be like, okay, and you swipe your card. You don't sit there and pull out no paper and start counting. None of you use this crap. None of you use division the way they taught you to. None of you use please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, algebra, any of this stuff. None of you guys use algebra. So really, is it necessary? Is it more necessary than understanding what food is and how food relates to your body and what really keeps you healthy? Because what I have learned is that milk has pus, mucus, and milk actually ages you and takes years off your life. This is what I learned after school. But then when you think about this, during school, they'll give you a slice of pizza, which has cheese on it, which has milk in it, which has pus, mucus from cows in it, right? Not only that, they're going to give you milk to drink. Milk to drink. Not only that, they're going to sell you ice cream. You understand? So now you consuming all of this cow mucus and you wondering why you staying sick. And they tell you milk is good for you. Like they put actors up and have them wear milk mustaches. And tell you milk does the body good. But then you learn that milk doesn't do a body good. And they say that it's common sense. You should know milk doesn't do a body good. It doesn't matter what we put in the ad. You should do your own research and know that it's just an article. It's just an ad to sell something. You should know that. This is what they say. But should a child know that? Because last I checked, you have two choices for children to drink at school. Milk and water if they get it out of the water fountain. Now, you might be selling some sodas. They might be selling sodas and stuff in there now, but we know what come with free lunch. I grew up poor, so you're going to get some milk or some chocolate milk, right? They could probably have some broccoli with some cheese on it. Cheese everywhere, man. You be looking on the back of your packages, and you see, like, salt and vinegar chips, and it'll say milk ingredients. What did you need milk for? On the back of everything, it's always like contains milk ingredients. It's like, dang, you don't even need milk to make this stuff. It's just put it in everything, right? They got to do something with this milk. Get us sick some kind of way. Keep us unhealthy and unbalanced some kind of way. Put milk in as many things as you can. Put cheese in as many things as you can. And you know I'm not lying, family. Look on a commercial. Look at how they sell you burgers. Extra cheese, nacho fries with extra cheese, all the time. And y'all think it's cool. You think somebody lame if they can't buy you extra slice of cheese. You don't even want to eat it if it ain't got cheese on it. But you wouldn't put your mouth on a cow's nipple and drink, though. You wouldn't even drink a cow's milk directly from the glass if it came out of his nipple. But you trust a human being's process on saying we made another animal's milk good enough for drinking. But if the idea of drinking human's milk, even after it being processed, you would find disgusting. Like if I were to hold up a woman's breast milk and say it went through the same process as cow's milk, they have both been processed the same. Which one would you prefer to drink? Half of y'all say cow's milk, and that's a whole other species than your own. Yeah, you only need milk, period, when you're an infant for any species, right? Notice that the milk dries up after a time. That's for a reason. Nature trying to tell you something. You don't see like, lions, grown lions still going to their birth mother and sucking off their titty. You don't see that. I'm talking about not only do they dry up, but here's the thing. Let's say a lion or any animal for that matter has reached an adult stage and their birth mother becomes pregnant again and has other little cubs or whatever. You still don't see that grown adult going, let me get some of that milk, bro. I remember back in the day, these used to taste good. They know it's not for them. Only we stupid. Yet we're supposed to be the most intelligent beings on the planet. Right, I'm a warrior. I'll take that Cambodian breast milk. That was hilarious. Listen, y'all, I'm telling you, this is how they mentally condition us. They mentally cripple us by simply limit what you learn. It's not that hard, family. And you have to understand, when people talk like this, they say, are you a conspiracy theorist? It's like, listen, man, you do understand that we have a government. What does government mean? Govern, mental, control, mind. Govern means to control, oversee. Ment means mentality. Do y'all know this? Government. We have governments. We have people who govern our mentality, right? We have people who oversee our mental well-being, right? We know this. So you have to understand, if everyone can't have power at the same time, they aim to keep it. We can't have power and them have power. So if they aim to keep power and knowledge is power, what would they want to keep from you to keep you out of power? I'm going to take a minute because I know a lot of y'all just not all the way there, and it's going to take you a while to grab the answer to that. Let me ask it another way. If the forbidden fruit is knowledge of good and evil, and God doesn't want you to eat the fruit of knowledge and good and evil, he doesn't want you to have knowledge, right? So if knowledge is wisdom, if knowledge brings understanding, and knowledge brings power, you would have to keep a person that you don't want to have understanding, that you don't want to have wisdom, and that you don't want to have power away from the knowledge. Right? Right. So limit their information, and they can never have power because they will not go get it for themselves. We have trained them to be learners, but to be students, not researchers on their own. And as long as you're a student, you will never overthrow the teacher. You understand? Think. If knowledge is power, why would the elites want you to have power? Why would the people who are in control of what you see on the news, what you see on the newspapers, even what you see on Facebook? If I start talking too much, this video will start messing up. They'll shut my page down. Why would they do that? I'm not harming anybody. I'm not calling anybody names. My rhetoric alone can get me killed. Why is that? Y'all act like these people don't exist. Like there's nobody who wants you to stay in your condition. And then you ask these people to help you out of your condition. We go to our governments and we literally protest, asking them to just at least give us some of the power. At least do this for us. They're not going to. And that's how I know deep down we know that we're slaves, because we have to ask someone else to treat us better. We know we're slaves. We just don't want to admit it. You know that you are a slave when you have to put in a request that you be treated fairly. And you can't demand that you be treated fairly. Let me ask you a question. You know how parents raise their children and they say stuff like, well, you can ride, he or she can ride in the front because they're the oldest, so I need you to be in charge of the house because you're the oldest. Now, we know that age doesn't presuppose responsibility, right? But as a parent, we'll raise our children like this. You're the oldest, I expect more from you. You're the oldest, you look out for the house. But it should be about responsibility. If the middle child shows more responsibility than the oldest child, that's who I'm putting in charge. If the youngest child shows the most responsibility, that's who I'm putting in charge. We don't do this once we leave the house. We only do it to our children. But then we don't want to be graded and appraised based on our age in the real world. But you will come home and tell your child it's because of your age. See how we do this? We assert this dominance by saying, I'm older than you, you got to listen to me. That's your elder, you should respect them. Because they're your elders, their program butt now gets to raise you to be programmed just because they're your elder. So they know more than you now because they're your elder. My elder believed that if you walked on a different side of a pole, then it was going to be bad luck. That's what my elder believed. Now, don't get me wrong. My grandmother taught me many useful things. But she also taught me some crap that I wish I never learned. In fact, most of what she taught me, I probably wish I never learned. Now, the things she learned from experience, through trial and error, she was very wise. But the things she accepted on belief, heck no. And she shouldn't have had a microphone to be talking to nobody, because all she was doing was pushing her own beliefs on someone else. Literally all she was doing. Yep, step on a crack, break your mama's back, and pray for it if you do. Right? It's totally ridiculous. But again, we accept the realities that we're given. And so you accepting that reality doesn't mean that you are not intelligent. It means they caught you at a time where your brain was vulnerable. And this is why we grasp onto different beliefs. Like I said, it's people out here, Donald Trump learning how to invest, and buy companies, while we learning that a whole bunch of cows is called a herd, but a whole bunch of lions is called a pride. That's what we learning. We're learning that a plural for dog is dogs and a plural for deer is still deer, and you don't put an S on it though. And if you call a bunch of deers, you look retarded, or you get treated as such. Like I said, if you call a group of octopi octopuses, you sound stupid. If you say that's a herd of fish or a bunch of fish, they're gonna be like, man, that's a school of fish. What you talking about? Why is it a school of fish? Who's in charge of this stuff? And why do I have to succumb to it in order to be intelligent? Or to be considered as such? It's people that can't read that can manage money, and their lives way better than ours. And y'all clown them because they can't read. Yeah, if you split the pole, it's bad luck. I mean, and I heard all kind of that stuff, all kind of stuff like that. So again, like I said, I just want us to understand that, mental control does happen. It happens to you every single day. They limit the information that you get. And this is why I always say, do your own research, family. This is why I say this, because nobody's going to give you this information, because the goal is to keep you weak. Listen to me, family. If you got a teacher who refuses to teach you everything, it's because he don't want you to know what he knows. Sometimes you got to go to somebody else and get information when you realize your teacher don't want to give it to you. You understand that if he's your teacher, you're his student, you're probably paying him. So he would need to keep you as a student a lot longer. A lot of preachers do this. They raise their congregation to not know the Bible enough to go out and start their own churches. They want to keep you being their disciple so they can keep getting your tithe. And when you go to that preacher and say, I believe the Lord is calling me to have my own church, they be like, I don't think it's time yet. I think that you need to sit up under me for another year or so until the Lord speaks it to me, because see, I'm your head. I'm your covering. And if the Lord didn't tell me that, he didn't tell it to you. And you sitting there like, dang, you got a point. God wouldn't tell me something without telling the person who he put and charging me, the guy, you look stupid. Believe in this dude. He can't prove none of this stuff to you. And you sitting here believing this man, letting him manipulate you. But see, you first had to be taught that he was anointed. You first had to be taught that he was chosen. And then you had to be taught that it was disrespectful to talk against God's anointed. See, because if he's anointed, he's now protected by God. And you can't confront him, because if you touch God's anointed, God gonna touch you. So they get to be wrong and do stuff that's wrong, and you don't get to speak about it. This is why when preachers rape children and rape women and stuff like that, rape vulnerable people, I should say, people keep it to themselves. Because even though that pastor raped you, you feel like God gonna punish you for speaking on it and exposing this man. Oh my goodness, the psychology. And many of you worship a God who you feel like knows everything. He don't even rescue women and children when they're raped. Let me tell you something, man. If I was God, if I was a God, an all-knowing God, listen, women wouldn't even have to pray to me to keep them from being raped. Number one, women would be every bit as strong as men, regardless of what their body type looked like. I wouldn't even care. If I were God, I would make it so they were the same strength. Even though a woman is physically smaller naturally than a man, I would still make her strong enough so a man would have to think twice before he tried to put his damn hands on her. She just might whoop his ass straight up like a dude. I wish women was as strong as men. Why didn't God just do that? But instead, women got to walk around feeling nervous all the time. Got to take somebody to the bathroom with them just to feel safe. They got to live by a whole different paradigm just cause dudes is stronger. And they can use that strength to assert dominance over them and rape them. God is cold-blooded, ain't he? Cold-blooded. If I were God, you wouldn't have to pray to ask anybody to protect you from being raped. You would be able to protect yourself. Soon as somebody decided they wanted to rape you, I'd just have them drop passed out right there. And I wouldn't kill them. Maybe they need some type of rehab. But soon as your brain begins to think, I'm going to take control over this person's body and rape them, your ass is passing out. Just like them goats when they get scared. There would be an immediate, something in your brain to make you just like them goats when they get scared. They get scared and they think they're about to be hurt, so their brain shuts down and makes them appear asleep or dead to the predator. Okay, I would make it so that the actual predator who is going to prey on a woman, an innocent child, anybody, and by way of raping them or harming them in any way where they can't protect themselves, their brain would shut down so they can't do that horrible act. Now, when you wake up, we'll talk about why the hell you just passed out, because we know you must have been thinking about doing some horrible shit. But we ask God, why don't you protect women when they're being raped? Why do you even have to ask that question? If he knew people would be raped, and yet he made women weaker than men. Just think about this. Men who are against the so-called, or I hate to say so-called, but because it's a real thing, but men who are against the feminine movement, they blow my mind. It's like, how can you not understand that women are at a disadvantage in this world? Like, people pay them less just because they have a vagina. People can rape them. Men don't walk to their car thinking they can be raped. That's not a thought in your mind. Period. You don't think about if you drink this drink and somebody got something in it and they're going to take advantage of you. That's not a thought that you have. You live by an entirely different matrix. And yet you don't understand women when they say they don't feel safe. You don't understand women when they tell you you're making them feel uncomfortable. Because, see, a woman knows that in an uncomfortable position where she don't have no help, you could potentially overpower her and freaking rape her. And you all aggressive. And you wonder why she feels like uncomfortable around you. You don't have her paradigm. See, I understand it. I may not understand it as well as a woman would, but I can tell you right now, man, walking around being a man who was always over 200 pounds, always solid as crap. I could go to a gym and lift 300-400 pounds. Man, I was strong as crap, right? To go from that to weighing about 140 pounds, right? On a good day. Man, I can literally walk around and be like, man, I really hope somebody don't try me today, bro, because I cannot protect myself right now. And I've never had to think like that, family. I've never had to think like that. You understand? I've never had to think like that. But now I have to think like that because I know that, according to the doctors, I ain't even supposed to be lifting up, 20, 30 pounds. So I know I can't be fighting nobody. So I have to think like wisely, like, man, if somebody try me right now, man, it's a wrap. Like somebody could really hurt me right now. That's a whole different paradigm. So I can understand what women go through. And they have nothing to protect them. The Bible says if you rape them, you can just buy them, as long as they're not engaged. The Bible says consider her the lesser vessel because you was made first. That's the same crap that parents do to their children. Because a child was born first, then what? They get to sit in the front seat. They get to do all this stuff. What if they was born just minutes away from each other and they were twins? What would be your logic then? Listen to me, man. My brother is older than me, but there are many situations in our life where he wouldn't be considered wiser. There would be many situations in our life where I would have to go get advice from him. But if someone said, Kevin, your brother's in charge of you solely because he's older, we're going to have a problem with that. But when we were little, he was in charge because he was older. Even though his hind end was stupid. And when grandma and them left, he'd be cracking on everybody and bullying everybody. But that's what they had in charge. Yeah, rape was okay in the Bible. This is what I'm saying. You get to pay for her as long as she's not engaged to a man. You look at people like Ruth in the Bible, and all y'all love these women in the Bible and say they were mighty women, but they wasn't nobody until they got married. These women felt like they wasn't nothing unless they had a husband. Now, you tell me a lot of women don't feel like that today. Tell me women are not made to feel like that they don't have nothing unless some princess came and rescued them. They don't raise men to think like this. They say he who finds a wife finds a good thing, but not that you need one or you worthless. See, it's a whole different scenario. See, a woman needs a covering. She needs a husbandman to cover her and protect her. But if a man finds a wife, he finds a good thing. That's cool. Listen, family, I don't see how a woman can read the Bible and think this literature came from a holy God who would say, listen to me now, I want you to think about this. If God makes your vessel, and made, let's say God just made Adam and Eve, right? And then the people who came out of nowhere when Cain killed Abel. Let's just say that, he made us with the ability to be baby making machines and create our own vessels and avatars. So that makes us our own assembly lines, right? But he's still responsible for putting the souls in each body, right? So he still takes credit for creating you, right? Even though you came through your mama, he still get credit for creating you, right? That's what y'all think. Like a lot of Christians still be like, God created me. No, your mama created you. You was born in her belly, like straight up was totally created in her belly. We got facts. We got ultrasounds that prove that's where your ass was. And if you ever been at a birth, they actually come out of women, like babies come out of women. But y'all still occupy your minds with this idea that God created you, right? But even if he didn't, if there's a God, he's responsible. If this God exists, he is responsible for at least putting your soul inside of your avatar. But this God who is all holy would judge you based on the avatar you're in, not the soul that's in the avatar. Now just think about this. I'm God. I have an assembly line. I see a male body. I throw a soul in it. And I tell that male now, because you're in it, I tell that soul, because you are in the avatar of a male. Now, when you die, your body stay here. So it's really irrelevant. But because you're a male, you must get your penis circumcised. You are now in charge of the woman. You are now the head vessel. You are the head. Now, I put a soul inside of a female body, a female avatar. Because now you get one chance at life to go to heaven or hell. This is the literature in the Bible. You don't get a chance to be a male and a female. You see, you don't get a chance to be both. Because I know some females who's very aggressive. And if they were a male, they probably would be out here raping people. They just don't have the strength to. So maybe they should get to live a life as a male and see how horrible they would be then. Because I know women that are try to manipulate you and make you feel like they own you. They can be dirty too. I know women that'll hold your baby against you and won't let you see your own child just to hurt your feelings. Men can lie on a woman and cheat, but a woman would tell a man a baby his. A man could never convince a woman a child is hers when it isn't. But she'll do that shit. And she'll have him raising this child thinking it's really his. Loving this child. Just think about this. If you're cheating and you get pregnant, you gotta come clean. At that point, you gotta be honest and be like, okay, look, I was cheating. You shouldn't lie about that anymore at that point. I get it, you lie because you want your relationship to continue and you're selfish. I get it, I've even been there. But I'm talking about if you get pregnant, you should tell that person I cheated and not have them with the expectation that this baby theirs. So I do know that there are people out here who do horrible stuff. Did I say I was hurt? How do you get to assert that? You're ridiculous. I'm hurt, but you're ridiculous. I've never said I was hurt. So just think about that, family. So because I put a soul in a woman's body, she is now in subject to a man because I made Eve second. She is now, the man is now in power over her, and she's the tail. If he's the head, what is she? She's now the weaker vessel. She gets paid less now because she's a woman. And I'm going to also make her physically weaker than the man so he can have his way with it if he wants to. And I'm not going to protect her if he tries to hurt her. This is the idea of an all-knowing God now. Think about it. So when I say that, like, you know, we need to rethink the way we live our lives and stop carrying ourselves according to this matrix and start thinking outside of it, we really do. Because how are you going to outgrow your environment if you don't leave your environment? Think about it, family. I see some people coming in saying, what's up? Peace to you all, family. Oh, don't get me wrong. I got a whole lot more to say. I just paused to give you guys time to gather your thoughts. Maybe look at some of your comments, respond to some of y'all. Because I hate to get off on a tangent. I don't actually respond to y'all and say hey to y'all, you know. It's over 250 people watching, so I don't want to just be talking, you know. Well, I don't mind the negativity, but I think some things need to be addressed just to show people how ignorant they are. Believe me, family, it's not much that people can say to me to upset me. This is the one thing I did, actually, before I woke up from religion, man. I started asking myself, why do we get upset? And I understood that we are robots, that if someone can say something to make you mad, then they have power over you. Someone shouldn't be able to use a spell, a series of words to anger you. And if they can, then they have some type of power over you because they understand something that you've been traumatized in. And because you've been traumatized in that area, you would be more susceptible to being controlled if someone says it to you. This is why I can guarantee you would make a black person mad by calling them a nigga before you would a white person, because a white person would never identify with nigga. They haven't heard it enough to even hear that. But if we started calling white people niggas, right, with the intentions to hurt them, and we did it for 10 years, eventually white people wouldn't want to be called that crap. We care about the word nigga because it was used on us. And so we identify with this. So if you're out and you just hear the word yelled nigga, you're going to look around like, who the f said that? A white person would be like, oh, Lord, something's going on. But they would never feel offended. Like, who said that? I'm like, you know, words, man. And it's not so much that words are powerful. It's just that we're so weak. Words are not really powerful. They're just words. But our brains are powerful. And it's what we do with the words that's powerful. Words are just tools, just like money. See, that's like saying money is the root to all evil or money has power. It doesn't. Your brain has the power. And by convincing your brain that money has power, now money has power. You don't understand that your brain is the root of everything. Your brain is the root of everything. You must first be convinced. That's why I always say imagine is 2 words. Image in. Image in. Image in. If you've never been taught the meaning of something, you cannot imagine it. It's physically impossible. Imagine a blue duck. I guarantee you, if you close your eyes, or even with them open, you can imagine a blue duck. A duck. Now, here's why. You know what blue means, unless you're blind. You know what a duck is, unless you're blind. If you know what those 2 things are, right, you know what a blue duck is. You can imagine it. Now, imagine the blue duck quacking. It probably quacked like any other duck, right? Now, watch this one. I'm going to guarantee you can't guess this. You can't imagine this. Imagine a snuffleupagus. It's impossible. You sitting here like, what? I ain't never heard of that. Exactly. You can't imagine what I haven't put in your head. Now, if I show you a picture and describe what I think is a snuffleupagus, and I say imagine it, you'll be able to see that picture. But if I don't do that, you can't do it. You understand what I'm saying? Image in. First, you have to see the image, and then it's in. Imagine. Now, your imagination, right, has control because you now have something to identify with. This is how you teach, family. And I always say, just a little wordplay for you guys, why don't they want women teaching in church? Why does the Bible say women can't speak in church and women can't teach in church? Anybody can answer this question. Why does the Bible say that a woman cannot speak in church or preach in church and that she should be silent? You're not going to get it because it's a joke I made up. It's all wordplay. So here, I'm just going to tell you. The reason that they don't want a woman teaching in church is because they don't want a misleading. Slow it down. I just dissed you. I said they don't want a misleading. See, y'all thought I said they don't want her misleading. Nah, they don't want a misleading. They don't want to be led by a female. Someone says women actually can speak in church. Maybe at your church they allow it, but the Bible says they can't. The Bible tells her to wait till she gets home and talk to her husband about any questions that she may have. This is what the Bible says. And maybe your denomination doesn't do it, but I can guarantee you there are several. Just look it up if you don't believe me. There are several denominations who don't allow their women to preach or even speak in church. Oh, Eden, that's dope. Trust me, that's bars. They don't want a misleading. That is bars, yo. Like, that's bars. You can't even hate on that. But I'm telling you, man, like when you deal with this Bible and the wordplay, like just the way my mind works, man, it's freaking crazy. Just think about it. The man on the top, the woman's on the bottom. In sex, what do they call that? Missionary style. And what if you are a missionary teaching the word of God, what do you believe? That if you are a man, you are on top and she's subject to you on the bottom. So why is sex where the man is on top and the woman on the bottom called missionary? Could that possibly be where it came from? Think about it. So women, I want you to always think, when you think of this Bible, missionary style. Missionary style. He's on top and you're on the bottom. Tanisha says that's Old Testament. Same God. We can't excuse an all-knowing God and say because someone called a different section of the Bible New Testament. What if I told you the New Testament was written before the Old Testament? And this is a real facts right now. The Old Testament is newer than the New Testament. So we're dealing with an all-knowing God. When you say that that's Old Testament, here's what you're saying to me. Here's what you're saying. You're saying that God is all-knowing and all-powerful. He knows everything from the beginning to the end. He knew that his ways would be a little bit harsh in the Old Testament. Not a little bit. I'm being facetious. A lot harsh. Stoning people for being disrespectful to their parents. Stoning people for having sex before they were married. All this type of stuff, right? Ridiculous stuff. Killing people just for disrespecting them or whatever, right? Or not believing in him. Opening the Ark of the Covenant so 30,000 people got to die. 3,000 people got destroyed for worshiping a golden calf, even though they didn't even know how to worship God at the time. We know that there's several things flooding the whole entire world, right? We already know this stuff. All right, so we know there's several things that this God did. He knew he was going to do all that stuff, right? And then changes his mind. What? I don't understand this. He knew he was going to be evil in the Old Testament and then said, well, I'm gonna be mean. I'm gonna tell y'all to stone each other right now, but then in a few years, I'm gonna come in the avatar of my son and say, he who has sin cast the first stone. Same God though. Same God. You know everything, bro. You don't get a pass. See, we get a pass because we can change and grow and mature and learn from our ways. But an all-knowing God cannot learn. He knows everything from the end to the beginning. He cannot change his mind. He cannot have an epiphany. It is impossible. He can't even have a plan. Have you guys thought about how ridiculous it sounds for a God who knows everything from beginning to end to even have a plan? Plans are for people who don't know everything. So they have to put a process together, i.e., plan. That's what plan means. To plan something out is something that people do when they don't know everything. If you know everything, there's no need for a plan. And yet you guys believe that your all-knowing God has a plan. You know how crazy that sounds. Why do you spend time contradicting scripture? Not hating on you, but okay. So I do this because I try to help people. Like I spent my life in religion. You know, I gave money to the church. I prayed all the time. I raised my children to believe in this stuff. And the reason I wasn't aware of it is because nobody talked about it or shined light on the facts. You know, and I became a grown man, 30 years old, before I ever realized that what I was believing in was utter bullshit. Why do you do what you do, Kevin? Why do you challenge religion? Because I want to give people an opportunity to hear the truth. It's the same way as people who believe in their religion. When they talk about their religion, they're trying to spread awareness to their religion, right? So when a Christian gets out and says, hey, you know, believe in Jesus or you're going to hell, that to a person who doesn't believe in Jesus, that sounds like a horrible thing to say. Like, why would you tell people that? That's forcing people to believe what you say. How can you this mean that they're going to go to hell? Prejudge them and tell them they're going to hell if they don't accept something. How you really know? But to that Christian, they think they're helping people. They believe that if I don't tell these people this, they won't have an opportunity to get their life right. That's their paradigm. My paradigm is what I'm saying is to help people. I know that I watch people get used and manipulated all the time. You know, it's kind of like if I start telling people, you know, listen, man, psychics ain't real. Stop going to these people, having them tell you they talk to dead people. When they tell you, I hear a name, it starts with a D. Is a D familiar to you? And all of a sudden, when you say, yeah, my daddy's name was Donnie and he died years ago, now they can tell you what Donnie says. Yeah, Donnie says he remembers picking you up and holding you, but Donnie couldn't even make out his name earlier. Earlier it was I'm hearing a D. I'm hearing a D. I'm hearing a D. I'm hearing a D. All Donnie can get out is D because all they can hear is D. Oh, yeah, great. I know Donnie. Now Donnie can get all the way in. Yeah, I remember holding her as a baby. Oh, now you can talk, Donnie. Oh, wow. You couldn't say your name, though. They're lying. And the person who gave him the name literally sitting there believing him. They just told him the whole, it starts with a P. Is it a Paul? Is it a Percy? Is it a Patrick? No. It's a Peter. Okay. Yeah, Peter says he's your uncle. Oh, so Peter can say all that, but he can't say Peter. Okay. Thanks a lot, Peter. And here you go giving them your money. Couldn't even squeeze a letter out their ass. One letter. Couldn't even get a whole name, and now Peter is talking in all kind of daggum sentences. It's Peter Popoff talking from the afterlife. So if I'm telling people that that's fake, hey, listen, fam, stop going and giving these mediums your money. They're lying to you. They cannot talk to your family, bro. Like, please tell me how they're able to conjure your family member by name and pull them into the room. The random one that happened to come into the room. Because it's never the person you really want to talk to unless you specifically say, I want to talk to my Uncle Donnie or Father Donnie. If you walk in there and just say, I just want to see if anybody want to say something to me, then any random person from your childhood, a spirit, can show up, so to speak, and start talking. And it's always clues at first. First, you got to play clues, the clue game. I hear a B, I hear a A. Is it somebody in your family who had black hair? It's always some bull crap, family. And then soon as you give them enough to work with, all of a sudden they can hear this person clearly. This person got daggum Wi-Fi now, 4G, 5G now. First they had dial-up, couldn't even get the whole name out. I hear G. Yeah, I had an uncle named Greg. Oh, great. Oh, wait, I'm getting something now. Greg? Okay. So Greg knows you from hanging around your daddy when y'all was young. He said that he used to hang out with you and chill with your pops. And I remember Greg. Yeah. You sound stupid. They stupid. All of you stupid. You're giving your money to these people. And I mean, come on, man. And it's the same thing with church. They tell you what God said. They didn't tell you what your Uncle Donnie said, your Uncle Bob said. They're telling you what God said. God, you can't even hear from this dude. Yet you're supposed to believe that they have some type of link to this dude, just like a medium somehow has some connection with the spirit realm. Now you got to believe that they somehow can hear from God. The Spirit of the Lord is telling me to tell you this. The Spirit of the Lord ain't saying nothing. And this is why I say perspective, man, because everything that I'm saying right now, someone else is finding evil rhetoric. They think I'm stupid, rambling. And here's the facts. I'm saying facts. Perspective is key. I get it. I would have once heard my rhetoric and thought it was crazy too. Before I researched, before I had really did some critical thinking. It's crazy, man. But here they are, right, Vanessa? Man, it's crazy the things that we were taught to believe. And it's crazy the things that we protect, knowing we didn't research it. Like everything I'm saying right now, if I'm saying something that you disagree